Bam! Hello, Rimfire friends. Today is Thursday, December 14th, 2023. And I know it's been a minute. It's like, where is this Rimfire Friends guy got? Where did In Range Rimfire go? Well, here I am, and I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you guys for 1,000 plus subscribers. Actually, I think I'm at 1,100 right now. So this video is way overdue. I've had some personal stuff happen in my life, and so I had to kind of take a break, mainly because I need to focus on me. And I didn't want to kind of half-ass this YouTube project of mine that actually means a lot more to me than I really realized before. So I need to take a knee. I need to take a knee from competitive shooting. I need to focus on myself, focus on my physical self and my mental health, and just take some time away. So I'm back here and I want to talk about a few things. So first of all, before I get ahead of myself, thank you for 1,000 plus subscribers. I want to talk about that because I never thought that this channel would kind of get to the level where it is. I didn't, push for subscribers. I never really, I just enjoyed doing it. And so I went with it. It was kind of like a good experience for me. Documenting strange and unusual rimfires was the goal of my channel. Now, I know a lot of my videos have to do with air guns and competitive shooting with rimfires, and that's all fun stuff I do too, but really the goal was to talk about old and unusual rimfires. So thank you guys for following along with that, and everybody who leaves comments and feedback, positive, negative, I really appreciate it. And especially some of those ones that correct my knowledge and add things, I uber appreciate that. I love to be corrected and challenged with things that I talk about, so keep those comments coming, because I know sometimes I'm slow in responding, but definitely read every single comment and do my best to respond accordingly. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was I have this, one of my favorite rifles. I've talked about it before, this BSA Super Sport 5 that I purchased, and I just kind of left it. I shot it for you guys and it did very well with some SK long range. It was shooting sub half-inch groups easily, and it wasn't a challenge for this rifle at all. And so I wanted to talk about this rifle in particular because it was supposed to be a project rifle and kind of like a build series that I never really finished, and because of my personal issues. So it's back on here, and I want to talk about it and use it as an example for, I guess, a build series that I want to talk about. So when I purchased this rifle, I paid like 200 bucks for it Canadian. It was super inexpensive because it had some problems, or it has some issues. And a few of the issues that I'll touch on very quickly before I get into the actual explanation of it, but it has a threaded muzzle, which is non-standard, and it's missing the front sight. It's missing the rear sight. It had been drilled and tapped for bizarre bases with very far spacing because this rifle's from the 50s. And so it didn't really work for a modern scope. Somebody also at one time had done some crazy drilling for what I figure was a sling stud, but they drilled it off center, and so it has this weird kind of screw plug in it. It needs to be, well, a wood plug installed and the grain matched and all that fun stuff. Also, somebody had attempted to free float it, but because it's a single action screw, when they free floated it, you had fore-end contact and action tip, where the action lifts out the back, the whole 9 yards. And when I bought it, I didn't realize this, of course, and somebody had stuck some piece of what I imagine was rubber inside that had long vulcanized and turned to hard shim in the action, and it was awful. So it needs some work done to it. It needs a pillar installed in the single action screw. It needs some epoxy bedding to get it off the contact surface now. It does shoot very well free floated, which is great, but it's difficult to get an action screw torque and kind of like a lineup in the rear action, because it teeters like this because they've removed so much wood from the fore end. And so kind of through my experimentation, I've discovered that although you'd figure a full length epoxy to bring it back to original factory, not always the case. This particular one likes to be free floated, and I kind of determined that with shims. And so I got to do that. I got to put a pillar in it for the single action screw, epoxy bed it, bring it up. And at the same time, because I'm doing all that, I might as well refinish this beautiful piece of English walnut and get it back to where it was. It's threaded very well, of course, in millimeters. However, in Canada, suppressors are illegal. So this threaded portion is useless to me. So I'm kind of on the fence on whether I want to lop it off, re-crown it 11 degree or something like that, or just put a threaded cap on it. It's a very nice crown for whoever did a really good job on it. But again, like, I can't have suppressors here in Canada because they're evil, so it's useless to me to have that. So anyway, I also want, part of the build series, I want to talk about the magazines setup that's on these guys, and maybe highlight some alternatives that are available, or some things that you can do if you have one of these rifles in another country and you don't have a magazine, which are super hard to find. A couple of options you can touch on. I know in one of the first videos I talked about in the past, I had done some Marlin magazine work on these. There are other options. Remington magazines can be modified to work. And so I think I want to talk about that a little bit and go a little bit more into detail on this rifle, because this rifle is very important to me, because it's one of my favorite rifles of all time. And those of you who have had one would probably understand. The Super Sport 5 is a special rifle, just a beautiful, beautiful rifle for so many different reasons. So this to me is the epitome of rimfire, so it's kind of going to get the full deluxe treatment over a build series. Long overdue, but that's originally why I bought it. And to be honest with you, like, when I bought this rifle for, like, you know, 200 bucks Canadian, whatever it was, I knew it came with problems. That was part of the series that I wanted to talk about, is like, if you're into buying vintage rimfires, whatever, vintage rimfiles, air guns, whatever, rifles rather, you sometimes, when you buy from the seller, you don't know what you're getting into. I had no idea that it was, you know, attempted free float. I had no idea about certain things. I could see this, you know, misdrilled stud in the, you can see certain things, but you have no idea if there's like some rubber shim in the action. And so you have to be prepared for this when you buy this sort of rifle, and then what you can do to make it work. Because ultimately, if you spend $200 on a rifle that's no longer original, missing its sights and all that, it's a project rifle. And none of that matters as long as it shoots, if that's important to you. Because I know some people want them absolutely original and they don't care how it shoots. They want it for their collection, they want to put it in their safe, and they want it as cherry as possible. That's not me. I think I've kind of like explained that over the course of this channel, is like, I'm looking for shooters. And so if the rifle doesn't shoot, off it goes. So if this rifle didn't shoot, as much as I liked it, I wouldn't hang on to it. Fortunately for me, this rifle is a shooter and is very capable, and so it's worthy of some customization, restoration that I would never do on a cherry example, because this rifle is no longer cherry. This rifle is probably as good as it gets. Now, so like, what exactly fits the bill with this rifle for me? Well, it outshoots an Anshoot 64, so an Anshoot 64 Sporter, I should say, and it outshoots pretty much any Sporter I've ever had, considering it's from the 50s. This rifle turns in phenomenal groups, has an adjustable trigger, beautiful stock. The main issues are with this bizarre scope mounting system, which I of course explained that I temporarily rectified in another video, but we're going to go over some of these things. So what's the purpose of this? Well, we'll talk about it later, but basically we're going to make this rifle right and make it a fun little, I don't know, maybe a hunting rifle, maybe a fun little shooter. I don't know yet. It would be kind of a cool silhouette gun. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's pretty hard to do when you only have one mag, so we're going to talk about that over a couple other videos. But anyway, I'm going to leave this one here, as I'm, of course, rambling like I always do. But I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching. Any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But if not, I will catch you at the next one on this guy.